Happy New Year's, my friends. I've got 3 leadership lessons from Mary Poppins coming up. Welcome back to Make Every Minute Matter, my friends, and happy 2014. I love a new year with new hopes and new possibilities. I hope that you're encouraged by that as well. Today I want to share a little bit from Mary Poppins. I confess it was never my favorite movie growing up, but that all changed on Christmas Eve when my family and I went and saw Saving Mr. Banks. An incredible movie loaded with leadership lessons that I want to encourage you to go and check out. I won't give the whole movie away, but you're going to get a little snip today. 3 leadership lessons from P.L. Travers. She was the author of Mary Poppins. Now, Mary Poppins was a series of 6 books that she wrote. She was actually a child in Australia and moved to London later on, but had a very difficult childhood. Her father was an alcoholic and a rather poor businessman. He was a failed bank manager back in the day, and she had a lot of trials and tribulations. I think she dealt with that through her writing. She was always a writer, wrote poems and short plays growing up, and then had this series about a magical nanny who loved to have tea parties on the ceiling. You know, P.L. Travers was described as private and prickly, not the most friendly person on the face of the planet. But, you know, her difficult childhood, something good came out of it, and the world enjoyed her series of books called Mary Poppins. And that's lesson number 1. Good things can come from bad situations. We all have our past. There's junk in our trunk, but we need to kind of see how we can turn it around and do something good with it. Number 2, great things happen when we take the time to connect to people. Now, the story goes that Walt Disney tried and tried and tried, actually for 20 years, to get P.L. Travers to sign over the rights of her book so that he could turn it into a movie. She didn't want any part of it. She really didn't like Walt Disney. She saw him as a little too footloose and fancy-free for her. She certainly didn't want any animation made about her favorite nanny, Mary Poppins. And musicals? Wow, that was completely out as well. When she finally came to California to debate whether or not she would sign over the rights for Walt to make a movie out of it. 20 years in the making, she went round and round and round and gave all the writers and the producers a difficult time. She didn't like the song, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. She just couldn't understand words that weren't real to her. She didn't understand that part of fantasy that Walt loved so very, very much. She left in a huff, went back to London, and he didn't have the rights to the book. Now, that could have been the end of the story, but our boy, Walt Disney, connected to people, jumped on the first flight over to London, sat down, and had a heart-to-heart with P.L. Travers, sharing a little bit of his difficult upbringing and finding a way to connect to her. After that connection, she signed over the rights, and in 1964, the movie was made and went on to win 5 Academy Awards. So you know where I'm going with number 3, my friends. It is my favorite tip that I often share, and that's never, ever, ever give up. If Walt Disney had given up after she left California and refused to give him the rights, we wouldn't have Mary Poppins to enjoy. A legacy of what was 6 books captured forever in a movie that's about fantasy and fun and kind of the human spirit of what, even when things look bad, they can turn out to be good. That's what I want you to think about this year as 2014 is right ahead of you. Even if you've had some bad things happen in the past, seize the day, my friends, and make this your best year yet. Remember, you were created for greatness, and I look forward to hearing about the great things that you do in 2014.